Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to Roma Theory. How is everybody doing? I hope your week started in the best way possible. Well, Roma's week started in the best way possible. Mario Hermoso is official. New Roma player. Now, of course, he did land in Rome this weekend, but we were very busy speaking about the Juventus game that I didn't really have time to speak about Hermoso. So I'm here today to give my opinion on the deal and also, speak about the last brinks of Roma's summer transfer window. Because, yes, the transfer window's done, but the free agent market is still open. And according to Gianluca Di Marzio, adding on to Mario Hermoso, Roma do also want to add another experienced centre-back to not be short, especially after having sold Chris Smalling to Al Khalifa in Saudi Arabia. So, yeah, I mean, I'm expecting something else. I'm not too sure if it is going to happen. According to Di Marzio, there are high chances of Roma's transfer window not ending yet. And when it comes to adding players, us fans we should be happy because I think the element in modern football which ultimately kind of separates teams which can compete in every front and teams which can't compete in every front is squad depth. So, of course, the more players we add, the more experience we add, and ultimately the more quality we add, we can only celebrate when it comes to this. So, yeah. Also, João Costa to Saudi Arabia, again, permanent move, 9 million euros. That was a shock move. I'm a bit mixed on it, and we'll also have a moment to speak about that. But yeah, how is everybody doing? Let me know your last few little opinions on yesterday's game. Also, may I invite everybody to hit the like down below if everybody in the stream, or not, if you're watching live or not, hit the like button down below. Subscribe to the channel. If we can get 111 likes, 111, cool number, cool satisfaction, it would be great if we can hit it. Hello to everybody in the chat. I'll read comments in a second. Right, look, let's start with Hermoso because he's official, done deal. Roma basically officialized him 30 minutes ago. I think this is a great signing. Now, I think this is a great signing because I look at the player. 29 years old, was a starting player at Atletico Madrid, and is a player who was never injured. Physical player, incredibly fast player. It doesn't look like he's fast when you look at him, when you look at his appearance. Very fast, very physical. You know Atletico Madrid. We all know Simeone and how he wants to play. Aggressive, never injured, starting centre-back at Atletico Madrid over the past 2 seasons. This is a world-class signing. For a team which wants to compete everywhere, Coppa Italia, achieve its objectives in the league and the Europa League, if you have a solid defence, half of your problems are solved. And having a quality defence, after that great performance from Mancini and Ndika yesterday, it's still not enough. It's still not enough. And we need experience. We need quality. We need to add numbers to our defence. And I think this signing, free agent, wages aren't even too big because I think we've offered him a 4.5 million contract. I mean, and you know why it's a smart move. You know this is a smart move because Inter really wanted him this summer. And Inter's project is very simple. They've started the mechanism, keep the starting 11 and add quality and squad depth to it. And Inter follow a project which doesn't really focus on young players. Inzaghi, which would much rather have a Hermoso in his team than, a Pavard. I mean, they do have a Pavard, but, a young defender, if you see what I mean. So this is somebody who Conte really wanted at Napoli. Didn't happen. And Inzaghi really wanted at Inter and did not happen. So I think this is a great signing when you compare the quality of the player to the costs of the deal, which are zero, of course, being a free agent. This is a perfect signing. I mean, I genuinely think that if you have Ndika, Mancini, add Hermoso to it, and potentially add another experienced centre-back like Mats Hummels, you would have 4 centre-backs, which all of them could easily start. All of them are starting material. All of them wouldn't have no problems in starting games. And therefore, that's immediately a step up from last year and ultimately a step up from many other seasons. So, again, I like this deal and I congratulate it. I still think we need another one because Hermoso comes in, but Smalling goes out. So numerically, nothing has changed. And of course, if you want to improve the squad depth, you do have to improve numerically in a sense that you have to increase the number of defenders. I think we add quality because if you compare him to Smalling, number one, fitness is key in modern game. And number two, appearances last season, absolutely key. And I would also add that in the latest seasons, Hermoso probably also grabbed more experience than Chris Smalling. So, I think this is, we lose a player and we add a reinforcement because Hermoso is better than Smalling at time of speaking. But if we want to improve the squad depth and ultimately numerically improve, we should add another centre-back. And that's where I want to, bring this live stream in a second. Also because, let's say we want to start with a back three. Now, of course, De Rossi's preferred formation is a 4-3-3. We've all understood that. But there are going to be games, especially yesterday, we've seen it, 75% of that game yesterday against Juventus, we played with a back three. A back three consisting of Angelino, very, very, very defensive, Mancini and Ndika in defence. So, number one, having more defenders and wanting to start with a back three allows you not to start Angelino in a back three, who, no offence, played great yesterday but can't be starting in a back three because he's about that tall. And other thing is, if you want to play with a three at the back and you only have four centre backs, then 3 start, 1's on the bench. If something with injuries happens, then you don't have many replacements. So ideally, you need to aim to have 5 different centre backs. Of course, people will say, well, look, I've got a solution. Instead of spending money on a potential new signing, why don't we just convert Cristante and put him as a centre back? It will probably make a lot of fans happy, this decision of potentially converting Cristante as a centre back is probably going to resolve 50% of the hate towards Cristante. So the way I see it is, yes, okay, it's not bad, and he's already played as a centre back, but a team which wants to compete the best way possible in 3 different competitions should not take the risk of wanting to start with a back three, having 4 defenders, and one of them isn't even a centre back. That's a risk. Because, yes, Cristante can play as a centre back, but Cristante is still very slow. Centre backs can't be slow. If you face a potential Osimhen, I know he's going to Galatasaray. Mad, by the way. My God, Osimhen fell down badly. But, a potential Vlahovic, Cristante wouldn't maintain him. So, yes, okay, he can play and intertwine himself between centre mid, defensive mid, and centre back. But ideally, the key is to add somebody else. Hermoso's a great signing. Of course, I would have really loved Hummels. Di Marzio is saying that Hummels isn't convincing Roma. Smalling's gone to Saudi, so it's not because the Saudi deal with Smalling wasn't going to get unlocked. But apparently Roma itself are very doubtful on Hummels himself. It's understandable. I mean, Hummels is definitely not the player you sign if you want to start with a young project. But I think a player like Hummels would add so much to your defence. I mean, it's insane because a potential Hermoso and Hummels duo would literally transform your defence from this to this. They would add so much. So much. So I would absolutely love Mancini and Ndika, Hermoso and Hummels. I think it would be unbelievable. They would add such a level of leadership and experience to the two, and physique, because both of them are absolute wardrobes, that it would be too good to be true. Di Marzio said that despite the fact that Roma was very close in finding an agreement with Hummels, Roma is actually rethinking about this twice. They're doubtful. They don't want to spend a lot of wages on a player who is 35. How old is he? 35 years old. So, again, but it's kind of like, if you don't get Hummels, who do you get? Because of course you're restricted on picking free agents. Free agent centre-back market, and Di Marzio has said this, Roma has not made a final decision, so it might be that Roma get Hummels. Roma is doubtful on Hummels, but hasn't made a final decision because they're considering all the different options. And in these different options, Sergio Ramos is one of them. Gigi, ex-Torino player, is another one of them. Sumaro, ex-Bologna player, is another guy. And then there was somebody else. I can't remember who it was. There was somebody else in the potential free agent option. If I had to pick, I would go between Hummels and Sergio Ramos. Of course, people who say Sergio Ramos is washed or is done or is finished, I personally think Sergio Ramos, in one more season, can be an absolute beast. I follow Sergio Ramos on Instagram, and he's got a better fitness level and probably a better physique than half of our starting players. And that's a statement. Go check him out. The guy is a beast, and he's 38 years old. The age is an alarm. 38 years old is big. 38 years old is an alarm. But, Sergio Ramos, the art of defending. I said this in the fan forum. We deserve to see a derby starting with Mancini and Sergio Ramos in defense. It's just a dream that we would have to see. You know what it is about Sergio Ramos, apart from the leadership and the experience which he would stack up in this team? It's just the concept of the art of defending. Sergio Ramos is a beast. At 38 years old, he's a beast. Sergio Ramos would eat Castellanos apart. He would tear him apart. And that isn't even a question. So I think before saying, we don't want Sergio Ramos, he's 38 years old, I get it. And, I completely agree with it. The age is alarming. But, let's not spit on the plate and the possibility of having Sergio Ramos in our team. Because, yes, he's 38 years old. Yes, he's not the Sergio Ramos of 2014 anymore. But Sergio Ramos in this team would revolutionize that defense. Starting and not starting. As a leadership, as a player, imagine the personality growth that a player like Mancini could have with Ramos next to him. Starting next to him and also leading him from the bench. I feel like, Hummels or Ramos for me. If I had to pick, I would still go with Hummels because, of course, we can't hide the fact that Hummels last season was one of the best defenders in Europe at 35 years old. Literally pocketed Mbappe for 2 consecutive games in the Champions League semi-finals. Absolute beast, physical monster, concentration at its best. That is what a defender needs to be. But the possibility of potentially not being doubtful on Hummels and maybe seeing a potential Ramos, I'm all for it. Either one of the two would massively satisfy me. Adding on to Hermoso, I would love Ramos. I would love Hummels. I would love somebody else. I'm still expecting one last brick in Roma's transfer market. And then, of course, the other problem, which won't be solved, I mentioned it yesterday in the match reaction, it's the right back. Right back is the problem this season. I think the problems this season are going to be 2. The problems this season are going to be a right back, and unfortunately, it's this concept of serving Dovbyk. I trust Dovbyk more than my father at time of speaking. I couldn't be more convinced that in 3 years' time, Dovbyk could potentially be a top scorer in the Serie A. But it's this process of evolution which worries me a bit. Every player needs the process of evolution. I'm not criticizing him. I have literally, I have literally revolted against people who have already turned up against Dovbyk because it's embarrassing. You do not have patience. You do not. This fan base is not patient on every single front. You have to be patient. So attacking Dovbyk right now is ridiculous. But of course, this process of this, this idea of Dovbyk needs time. It's absolutely correct, of course. I'm not saying he doesn't need time. Dovbyk needs time, but it's just this concept of he potentially needs one season to unlock, which worries me because he's your main striker. And if he doesn't start as Shomurodov, it's a risk that we've took, not having a second real striker. No disrespect to Shomurodov, but Shomurodov was a second tier player at Cagliari who was about to scrape relegation last season. So you see what I mean? It's a risk. I think not having a proper second striker is a risk. I am a bit worried at the time Dovbyk will need to adapt. He needs it. Give it to him. But of course, we don't have a lot of time to wait, in a sense that we can't have one full season for Dovbyk to unlock himself. I can get the first 5 game weeks. I can even understand the first 10 game weeks. But after the first 10 game weeks, we do need to see some goals. So, that's the way I see it. And then the last thing which I want to speak about is João Costa. By the way, before speaking about João Costa, a lot of you if everybody in this room right now, please stop the video, hit the like, would be great, takes 2 seconds, free of cost. I know you're tired of me saying this, but lads, you've got no idea how much it supports me. So please do hit the like and subscribe to the channel. Right, João Costa, I'm mixed on this. I understand the frustration because I've said it last time with Bobby, the incoherence is big. Because we always, De Rossi says in press conferences, we want to change, let's keep our young players, we shouldn't be selling your young players this fast, and then in the space of a week we've sold Bobby and João Costa. So incoherence is massive at this football club, but I'll be very honest with you here. I'm disappointed because I don't like the philosophy of selling young players. I think it's morally wrong. I think and plus, selling him to Saudi Arabia it's kind of disrespectful to him. Not that he's going to complain because, he's going to get the money, but he's 19 years old. Why the hell is he going to Saudi Arabia? João Costa would have been perfect in a championship team in England, even a Serie B team in England, or even a potential Venezia Como. But Saudi team at 18 years old is really depressing. So on this side, I don't like it. I don't like this philosophy of selling young players. And I was when I read the news, I was shocked. I was like, what the hell? Surely it's a loan. No, it's a permanent move, confirmed. But then the other part of me goes, we've done another masterclass. He is a player who's never played 1 minute in the league. In the first division, Serie A. He's never played a minute in the league, probably worth around 1 million euros, and we've sold him for 9 million. That is a financial masterclass. I know it's the Saudis, they've got the money, but selling João Costa for 9 million is, it's impressive. So I'm like, yes, it's not right, but I'm not complaining. João Costa could become the next Arjen Robben, right? But the thing which is wrong with João Costa, unfortunately, it's this. I've always said this. Out of all the youth players that we grew and that we brought into our first team, João Costa was always the one I rated the least. I've always said this. Go back to the videos. I always said that João Costa is the one out of all of them which is the least ready and the least mature, because he played a game, played 20 minutes. All he did in 20 minutes was care about, dribbling, skilling, doing all the game, the little skills. That is not a serious football player. And you know that he won't become a serious football player because that's his mentality. If in 20 minutes you're a young player, 18 years old, and all you care about in 20 minutes is dribble, skills, ball under the legs and all of that, then you're not going to go far. And adding on to this, if at 18 years old, I have no doubt that Roma pushed this to happen, but if at 18 years old, your priority is to go to Saudi, then you're not going to go anywhere. He has fucked his career up with this decision. So I am not a João Costa widow. I hate selling young players. And I hate selling young players to then see them grow and seeing Roma wanting to buy them again for around 30 million. João Costa is not going to be one of them. Bove might be. Calafiori made a mistake. Fratesi, we've made so many mistakes. But you could clearly see from a mile that João Costa, out of all, was the one that we rated the least. Pizzilli, compared to him, is so much more chilled, so much more mature, so much more concentrated, so much more fluid with the ball, and so much readier to start games. So these are the players which I think we have to avoid selling. Of course, it's not going to be possible keeping all of the young players and avoiding selling them all. And I'm disappointed because I think João Costa could have had his chances this season, but I'm not going to stab myself in the back because selling João Costa for 9 to 10 million is a masterclass. Like, not to call it a theft, because, yes, like, we have to be honest with you. Bove is on loan. But if he plays 60% of games, it's a permanent move. So it clearly means that we want to sell him, because otherwise we wouldn't have put that clause in. We need to plan how to keep Salamakers in the side long term. Zaleski again shuts the mouths of the boys' Roman critics. I mean, he didn't play bad yesterday, but I would not go as far to say that he shut us all up. Maybe we weren't watching the same game. I said it in yesterday's match reaction. Zaleski got subbed in well. But to say that he shut all of us up, I think is too much. It's too much, especially when he's been coming from awful performances. Yesterday he wasn't bad, but definitely did not shut all of us up. I spoke with one lad who thinks Smalling should stay and he thinks he shouldn't go because of his class performances. Well, Smalling's done, mate. Smalling's injury prone. De Rossi doesn't like him. Mourinho didn't like him in his last season as well. Fell out with him. Do you even want Ramos? Yes, I do. I would love Ramos. Do you think Hummels is too old for him to even start? No, I mean, he could start. Hummels got to play the Champions League final and was a massive character in it. Yeah. Hi Simo, Hermoso is so good, really good signing. I also think Angelino's underrated, plays a braccetto, he's good as he's got good feet. Yeah, I agree. Angelino has his hits and misses, ain't gonna lie, but he has his good games. Would you take Alex Tellez? No, because I don't think we need a left back. I think others are the priorities. Pagano's not at the club, he's on loan to somebody else, Serie B team, I think. How do we go 2 weeks with no Roma games? I don't know. It's a useless international break, mate. That's exactly what they deduct points for now in Serie A. Overhauling players and selling them for 9 million is overvalue. That's exactly why I called it a theft. Like, it's a masterclass when you look at it, but it's a theft. Like, I would not be surprised if we go to jail for it. It's crazy. So, which is why I'm worried that investigations are going to go on. But of course, if you see it like this, I take the 10 million and, give João Costa away, of course. Would you rather Dovbyk stays for 5 years and scores 15 goals each season, or 2 seasons with 28 goals and leaves? 2 seasons with 28 goals and leaves, 100%. Kumbula is cooking right now. Next season he's going to start for us. I think Lorenzo Pellegrini needs to build his confidence. I spoke with one lad, read that. Inez is on loan. First 2 games, total disaster. Then we saw versus you, we saw some good vibes. This is a season to build. We owed your 2 full seasons before judging. Well, yeah, it's November 3. He's had half a season. I think you judge a manager after 3 seasons, and you potentially sack a manager after 3 seasons. I think the rumours of sacking De Rossi after 3 game weeks are horrid. But yeah, right, I'm going to catch you tomorrow. Please do hit the like if you haven't already. Please do it if you're watching live or not. It would support the channel a lot. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know your thoughts on the opinions and the topics that we discussed today. And hopefully we get another centre-back added to the list following the Mario Hermoso signing. Take care. Good night. I'll talk to you in a bit. See you all. Out.